Chargers. Touchdown, UCLA.
With USC great and NFL stud, Frostee Rucker.
The Trojans back in front.
And LAFB founder Ryan Dyrud on the Believe Podcast Network and LAFBnetwork.com. This is your destination for Los Angeles football.
All right, Los Angeles, what's up? Welcome back to the LA Football Podcast on the Believe Podcast Network, always on the LA Football Network, LAFBnetwork.com, your destination for Los Angeles football. Excited to be back in studio talking with y'all today. Going to talk some pro days, some college football, or I guess guys heading to the pros. But before we get rocking, my co-host, as always, had his own pro day some years back. Frostee Rucker, what's going on, man?
Yeah, man, not too much. What's up, LA? Yeah, I had pro day once, many moons ago, buddy. Many moons ago.
Well, hey, it got you drafted, or obviously your film and tape probably did more of that, but it I'm sure helped in the process. So I want to ask you a question of that. We'll get all into it. But first, how was the weekend? How are things going for you so far in this beautiful summer-like day in LA?
Yeah, man, it's awesome. I'm glad the gray cloud has gone away from Los Angeles and the sun has broke through, and my weekend was great and just excited to talk some ball.
Excellent. Yeah. Glad to hear it. I got to give a quick shout out to my daughter, Mia, who is officially 1 year old today. So she's had
happy birthday.
Thank you. Quite a year, and she's a year old. So we're excited. We had a little party for her on Saturday. So that was a success, a lot of fun, some cake smashing, some piñata. So it's a good time. It's a good weekend in the Dyrud.
Tequila?
Yeah, some tequila for the adults, obviously, and beers and seltzers. So it was a good time.
Did you drink any of that whiskey?
So I finally tried it. A couple days ago. We'll announce officially partnership hopefully here soon. But yeah, we got a whiskey we're working with, and it was good. Did you try it yet?
Yeah. Delicious stuff.
What do you think? You liked it?
Yeah, good stuff. It's
very different, I feel like, than most bourbons that I've had.
And that's why, they're partnering with us, because we're a little bit different too.
That's right. So before we get rolling, and we can, if this is boring, I'll take this out, but I just had a random question for you. Some just random conversation I like to do every now and then to start these podcasts off. So one thing I've noticed, and this is completely random for us, so I apologize, but in doing this work, I'm surprised by, now that we're working a lot with brands and like partnering, I'm surprised at how many people still don't work weekends. Like if I don't get an email to them by like noon on Friday, I don't hear back till like Monday afternoon or Tuesday sometimes. So I was curious, and I think me and you're kind of in the same mindset, or at least our work schedule is similar, but do you prefer a job that technically you work every day, but you have flexibility, or do you prefer a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and then you have 2 full days off where you don't think about work?
I've never had a 9 to 5, so I don't really know how that works. And I worked on the weekend. So, I'm taking calls and emails all through the weekend. It's the grind time for me, So I do like the flexibility now of being able to push things at certain times, to making sure you're present with family and doing all the things you're supposed to do at home. Mm-hmm. But again, I like structure. It's a good question, since I've never had a 9 to 5.
Yeah. I haven't either, really.
I would go with flexibility. I'll go with flexibility because I'm still structured and I can itinerary myself.
Totally. Yeah, I was just on a walk yesterday, and I was just that crossed my mind because I was waiting to hear back from someone, and I was like, the weekend, I won't hear from them for at least a few days. But
it's the worst.
Yeah, but no, I like it too, because it's like a double-edged sword, because our work, what we do, like it's never ending. Like if I wanted to, I could put in 100 hours a week and still probably have more to do. Which is, not, sometimes you want to leave it somewhere, but it's nice too, because on Saturday, my daughter's birthday, I was able to wake up, put a couple hours in, then take hours away, spend time with her for the birthday. And then I got home and did a few more things. So it's like, you can have that flexibility as opposed to just being like, sorry, today's a work day, I'm in the office from 9 to 5. So just curious what you thought.
Yeah. Good question.
Yeah. So, speaking of flexibility, today's show is brought to you by betonline.ag. USC, UCLA, big wins last night. USC, man, they might give Gonzaga a good run.
Yeah, I think so. I think defensively, our length and, how tall we are, we create problems. I think Gonzaga is really good at the point guard position. Here I am diving into basketball. Okay. But Yeah, I'm really pumped on USC's team, the whole coaching staff, the players, the energy that they're bringing, and UCLA to say the most about them too. With Coach Cronin coming over from UC, I think this is the second year. Got them into a Elite Eight now. They're playing really good basketball. They ran away with the show last night. It's a good time for LA. You know, from what we've been through in the past year as a state, as a city, to watch both these teams persevere the way they have and go deep into this tournament. Hopefully we'll see a matchup in the finals.
Yeah, you never know. So exciting. I know we cover football, but hey, we cover those schools. And so it's exciting to see their counterparts do well. And it's so funny how, like shout out University of Cincinnati. Mike Bone is now the AD at USC, and Mick Cronin is now the coach at UCLA, and both are doing big things. I want to give a shout out to Martin Jarman, the AD at UCLA, who's, he's a great follow on social media. If you guys don't follow him, he's at all the games, like in the crowd, like cheering, celebrating. He's a super like personal guy. It seems like we haven't met him yet. We will here soon, but yeah, it's ironic too that USC plays Gonzaga in the Elite Eight, who you have as your winner, and UCLA plays Michigan in the Elite Eight, who I have as my winner. So I think we're both rooting maybe for our brackets to lose so our LA teams can move on.
That's exactly where I'm at with this. I'd rather the bracket fold and my Trojans can go on and try to face the Bruins in the national championship. It would be one for the ages. I know that.
City of champions, baby. Lakers, Dodgers, Rams are in the playoffs. Chargers are on the rise. And we got our basketball teams in the Elite Eight. So, but if you're a betting person, you probably don't want that to happen unless you haven't bet on them yet. And then now you can go and take the underdog, if you will, playing 2 number 1 seeds. So betonline.ag has all that for you there. Great prop bets too. You can parlay both LA teams if you want to win some extra money. Head there now online or on mobile, betonline.ag, and get a 50% welcome bonus. So yeah, head there. Always fun. Those games kick off again, I think tonight. Quick turnaround, Sweet 16 Elite Eight. And then Final Four is like next weekend.
They got to get it, man. I can't wait to see how both teams show up tonight. This is a big game for both schools, or all 4 schools, put it that way, and the matchups are dead even, with energy and skill level, coaching. This is a great tournament.
Yeah, one of the best. And this is always it's always fun with the upsets. And this year there was even more, just 'cause I think there was so much unknown about every team that, a 15 seed may have not been a true 15 seed just because they're, teams take time off. And so before we move on from that, I do want to mention, I sent this to you, Frost, a couple days ago, but we're doing a LA football bracket in honor of March Madness for on LAFBnetwork.com. So we're using all the LA football teams, Rams, Chargers, obviously Trojans, Bruins, and we're doing like a bracket, seeds that I created, and having people vote on them. So if you haven't done it yet, head to LAFBnetwork.com. You can vote. I have it on our social media as well. But our first round is over. So I just wanted to tell you, Frost, a few of them because I think you'll appreciate. So I had the number 1 seed, your 04 Trojans, and they won unanimously against the number 8 seed, 1988 UCLA Bruins. So hats off to you. You were the overall number 1, and you guys obviously moved on pretty convincingly.
Sounds good to me.
As you should have. Your 05 Trojans as well were the number 2 seed, also moved on against the 14 Bruins. And then we did have the 1954 Bruins, were the lone Bruins to move on, beat the 03 also championship team. Both those teams were championship teams, but the Bruins moved on past that in a very close bout. 53% voters chose them. And then the 4-5 matchup was the 72 Trojan championship team, which beat the number 5 seed 82 Bruins team. So 3 Trojans move on to the second round.
Interesting. Those are some good football teams too.
Great football teams. Great. I mean, if I'm being real, Frost, if we were just going purely on dominance, probably all 8 teams could have been Trojan teams. Maybe could have made the argument for the 54 Bruins team which won. But I want to do 4 and 4. Wanted to keep it interesting. So
no, that's good.
Yeah.
Good.
So, but yeah, it was fun. I got to at least just say the Rams, the 1 seed was the 99 Greatest Show on Turf team. They moved on convincingly against the 1994 Chargers team, which did go to the Super Bowl, but maybe not their strongest team, even though they went to the big game. The 2 seed was the 01 Rams, which moved on past the 51 Rams. 3 seed was an 18 Rams team versus the 18 Chargers team, and that Rams team did move on, the team that went on to the Super Bowl. And the 4-5 matchup was the 06 Chargers, which beat the 80 Chargers. So we got 3 Rams teams and 1 Chargers team move on. So kind of a fun concept. I've had fun with it. A lot of people voted.
Yeah,
cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll have at the time of you're listening to this, round 2 will be up live. So make sure to head there on LAFBnetwork.com to vote. All right, Frost, got to get into our pro day talk. I do have to mention one more new sponsor real quick. Sunday Scaries. Are you a big CBD guy?
Yeah. I am a CBD guy. I like bath salts. I like the topicals. Yeah. Talk to me.
Yeah. So Sunday Scaries is a cool company, man, based right in San Diego. As soon as 2020 ended, I think a lot of us decided that we were going to dominate 2021. I know me and you talked about kind of our goals at the very beginning of the year. And sometimes for some people, there's just so much anxiety with everything that happened. And, Sunday Scaries is a company that helps with mental clarity. It's a first step to better life. And it's why you've been taking out Sunday Scaries CBD gummy bears. You would be helping yourself out. So when the mind starts racing or you need to decompress, you can just pop 2 gummies and in 20 minutes, you are in max relax mode. So there's no risk to buy. The company offers a 100% lifetime money back guarantee. If the product's not for you, that's okay. You'll get your money back. Sunday Scaries is the stress relieving business, not the stress causing business. Gotta love that. No matter what year it is, that is always good to hear. So Frost and I have 25% off just to prove it to you. So visit sundayscaries.com. That's sundayscaries.com. Use our promo code LAFB for your 25% discount. That's promo code LAFB for 25% off at sundayscaries.com. They're amazing. You'll love it. Make sure to join their squad, our squad, and better your day.
Yeah, do that. It's 25% off. Jump on that.
Yeah, that's great. That adds up quick. So usually those promo codes get you like 10%, 25. That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, man.
I actually got some right here.
Okay, awesome. There you go.
Product placement.
If you guys are watching our YouTube show, you'll be able to see that.
Yeah. Speaking of, if you're not watching the YouTube show, we are putting film up of these pro days. So if you're listening on Apple, Spotify, carry on. You can listen, but if you want to actually see what Frost is going to be talking about, you might want to head to YouTube. LAFB Network is what you'll search as we break down these pro days that happen. So with that being said, Frost, last week, UCLA had their pro day. Demetric Felton, Osa Odighizuwa, USC had theirs 2 days later with, I believe, 8 players. I won't list them all, but the ones we'll be talking about, Tufele and Marlin Tui Pelotu. So we're going to hit the D lineman, since that is a position near and dear to your heart, considering you played that for 20 plus years of your life. Well, you played linebacker, I guess, to start, but relativity.
I hear you. I get it.
Yeah. So, this should be fun. This is our first kind of film breakdown. So I'm excited to see how it goes. For the people watching, I'm going to go ahead and jump on a little screen share here so everyone can watch what you're kind of talking about. And we'll all just kind of try to go along, ask you questions, and we'll see how this goes. So you wanted to dive into Osa first, right?
Yeah, whichever you got.
All right. So, we'll go ahead. We'll start with Osa Odighizuwa. So USC at their pro day, NFL Network was there. So they had a lot more film out from people. Whereas UCLA's was more closed. So just for everyone watching, this is basically a little highlight. So we can't get too in depth because it doesn't show a ton, but you can at least Frost can give some insight of what the drill is necessarily. And then we can add some other stuff, some insight too. So Frost. So this first one that we're showing is just like a bags drill. So I guess kind of talk to everyone what this drill necessarily does or what benefit this gives scouts when they see it.
Yeah. So one of the things you like to see in bag drills, this is something that these kids, I'm calling them kids because I'm so much older and I have gray hair, but these kids have probably done since, attending Nike camps and high school stuff, depending on where you go to high school, if you got facilities and equipment. But bag drills are one of the things that D-line coaches, defensive coordinators want to see. There's a lot of traffic when you're rushing a quarterback and a quarterback moves around. So you may have to keep hitting your target, meaning the offensive lineman. And in this drill, you want to see hands high like a boxer. You want to see them flip their hips. You want to see how hard they can hit the bag. Does the bag hit the ground? Do you hear the pop in it? And those are those normal things that defensive line coaches want to hear. And they want to see it too. So it's always a mundane type of drill, but at the same time, it's one that's efficient and see how much practice these guys have done, because you can still trip over bags once you lay them down and whatnot. You got to get your feet through. You got to get your hips through. So right here where we're watching, I would love to see his hands a little bit higher. I would love to see him like a boxer, but he did keep them tight into his body. He didn't wind up and hit it. And that's good too, because you kind of want to lay the bags down. You want to punch through them sideways. So not a bad job by Osa here.
So you almost want to do like a Deacon Jones with like the head slap almost. Is that what you mean? Like the hands higher?
Kind of, in a sense. You got to think about where you're hitting the bag at. If it's an offensive lineman, you typically want to hit them on their shoulder. And that's why your hands have to be higher than, chest level or hip level. So they always say keep them up like a boxer when you're doing drills like this, because if you keep your hands up in the sky like so, you'll be able to lay those things down and you'll be able to target the shoulder.
Yeah. Is there anything in this drill, which obviously we see it's simple, but where someone could literally like destroy their draft stock, where someone's like, wow, they can't even do this drill correct? Or is it that
not
anyone
finishing.
can pretty much do it?
No, when, Osa, he had a great burst and a finish after the drill. And that's part of the whole thing. It's finish the drill, finish the game, finish everything, right? So that explosion coming off that last bag, running to the next one, that's just as important as starting it and going through the bag itself.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it looks good on tape, but yeah, we'll see. Obviously, I think game film kind of shows more, but all right, let's move on to this next one, which is, I don't know what you technically call it, the hoop drill, the figure eight drill, where, you're grabbing things and just moving quick. What is this exactly demonstrate?
Yeah, Ryan, like you're saying, these hoop drills are very important also. They call them hoop drill or figure eights. But as you see on this film, the coaches put the towels down. And that's to make sure the athletes are bending their knees and they're not just hip benders, because you got to be able to bend your knees to get in certain positions with technique and leverage. So turning the corner also when you're finishing a pass rush and that last couple steps to get to the quarterback, your toe has to turn. And that's one of the things those hoops provide. They make you turn your toe. So it's a great drill to see how fast guys can go, how many steps they take. The less steps, the better on this drill particularly. And again, it's a knee bending drill. It's see how fast a guy can do it without taking a lot of steps and covering ground. So, and at the end of that, as you can see, he finished the drill. They made the cones out maybe 10 to 15 yards, it looks like, and they made him sprint through. And that's one of the things you have to finish when you're doing this big audition for these coaches.
Yeah, definitely. Good burst there and just good, I guess, changing speed, I guess not really changing direction, but you're moving around, bending, if you will, which we hear a lot in draft. Analysts say is their bendability, or are they a bendy pass rusher? So that looked pretty good. Do you think overall that drill looked pretty good from what we could see? With the,
absolutely. Again, this is the drill that 9 times out of 10, you're doing this every single day at practice. And, with these guys and how the game has changed, they're probably doing it in high school and whatnot, and way before I did it. So it's a good drill. It shows how comfortable you are. Again, how fast you can get through the drill, turning your toe, knee bending, and finishing the drill. So it's always an effective drill. Yeah.
Is this a drill? I remember when we had O'Day on just a few days ago, and he talked about what he would tell young guys is practice what, your position. Is this a drill you think that is relative to what you guys do on the defensive line, or is it more of just a showcasing for pro days?
So practicing for a pro day, I would absolutely do this, because those are those things you're going to do at practice every single day. Another drill I would tell these guys to do if they had a chance to get on the sled. You're going to be hitting the sled every day too to make your money. So, that they may not do sleds on pro day, but again, just like O'Day mentioned, doing things that you're going to do and you're comfortable doing is always key.
Perfect. So, all right, let's move on to the next one, which is, it looks like I don't know what you would call it, but the changing lateral, and then you go through the 3 bags again. So walk us through what that one does.
So basically what you're watching is, there's a lot of traffic and a lot of guys on the ground. So they always use these agile bags to place them there. And the importance of agile bags is to get your knees high. The higher your knees go, your feet are going to clear the bag. You don't want defensive linemen on the ground all the time, even though it happens. but you would like them to cover ground by being able to pick them up and pick them down as fast as they can. And then again, he's running the hoop because this is a pass rush drill, right? So you're running the hoop, that's one defender, that's two defenders, and then you're finishing the drill, you're securing the tackle, you're trying to get a hit on the quarterback on the ball, and that's when you see Osa reach like that. So, it's another good drill that defensive linemen are going to have to do pretty much every day at practice, and that just keeps your arms and your hips and your whole body moving. You never want to sit still. You never win your pass rush on just one move. The majority of the time, it's always that next move, that counter move. So you always want to have that ready. Again, another drill where you keep your hands high like a boxer. So you're striking it. And when you're striking the bags, remember where you're trying to hit. You're trying to hit the shoulder area because you can't Deacon Jones guys, Ryan. As much as you like Deacon Jones,
it's illegal
you
now.
can't hit him in the head.
Nope. He's the one that outlawed the head slap, made it famous, and then got it outlawed. So
absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, just from the eyeball test from someone like me, Osa looks just extremely athletic. I think that's what I've seen from these drills. He just looks really athletic. The times may not be, first round, second round, or even third round times, but he just looks really athletic, really lean. A defensive lineman, like we said, bendy, that can do it all. So from what I can tell, they look like he at least had a pretty good outing with these drills.
Yeah.
Let's go through this last one, which is, in my opinion, more important for receivers, but it can be good for defense linemen too, which is the famous, what is this, the 3-cone drill?
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously this has a lot to do with changing direction, staying low, keeping your base. You don't slide out. Is this a relevant drill, you think, for defensive linemen, and how do you think he does?
Yeah, I think the whole thing on watching the defensive lineman do these drills is to see his motor. Is he in shape? Has he practiced the technique to do these drills? Not everyone that you put on tape can do things like this, and they're just football players, right? But again, this is a tell of, you've had some time off to study these drills. This is another test. So I think, he did a great job getting around both cones. They don't want you cutting cones on this drill. It's following direction, and that's listening. Can you listen to what coach is saying for you to do? Touch on the line here, don't touch here, make sure you don't knock the cone over because that counts against time. So it's concentration, it's speed, it's foot movement, and this is another drill he did well. And the real tell of the tape is when you do your one-on-ones with your position coach, and they do that, but we don't have the film on that. But the coaches tend to put you through a gruesome workout one-on-one with them usually, and that's when it really gets tough.
Yeah. And maybe I'll throw some up too after this, or just while I'm talking right now, but Osa had a phenomenal Senior Bowl too, where they do a lot of one-on-one drills where you can see a lot more than just against air when you're going against offensive linemen. He was actually named the defensive lineman of the week for the national team. So had a great outing down there, which I think probably did him more dividends even than this pro day, but overall looked like a good 3-cone. We can get the numbers on what he did. His 3-cone was a 7.56. Is that to you a good number, Frost?
Yeah, he's moving around. It's always good, a good showing when a lineman is in the low 7s. So I'll take that. And I'm sure he will too. You've been practicing these drills that you'll probably never do again for a few months. So I think he had a good outing. I think for Osa, he's more of the guy you want to watch play football than see running around in shorts like he's playing soccer.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So, well, his game feel, I think, speaks for itself. I think he's had a good season so far, or had a good season, and had a good off season so far. Like I mentioned, the Senior Bowl stuff. So we'll see where he goes. We can get into more throughout this process. I think he's, probably sitting in that 3rd to 4th round range, but could go higher, could go later. Either way, he'll be on a roster come training camp, 100%.
Absolutely.
So excited for him there. So, all right, Frost, let's get into your team, the two big guys at USC. Let's start with Jay Tufele, because he's the one that we don't really know a ton going into this process, because he did opt out due to COVID from last season. So not that there was unknown, but I think if he had not opted out and had a good year, people were projecting him to be potentially a 1st-round pick. And then with the opt-out, there's just a lot of unknown. How in shape was he? And so that's what he was trying to prove in his pro days. So let's pull up some of his stuff and what he was able to do, because I thought he had a fairly good pro day too for not being on the field for a year. What were your just initial thoughts from what you saw on him, and then we'll get into the actual drills?
Jay's a good football player, and he chose to opt out, which was completely his choice and not a bad choice. You know, it was so much uncertainty going on. You might as well secure your health before a football season. And, you know, there's such a gray area if the season was ever going to start. He made a business decision, which right now all this is, it's all business. So no fault there. I think he showed up for his pro day. He did exactly what he's supposed to do, and he is who he's supposed to be. You know, he's not an overwhelming guy with tall stature or anything like that. He's a strong physical guy that commands the gap, great lockout strength. I think he benched 30 reps on his bench press. He's that guy. You know, I don't think him missing out on that season hurt them. They only played 6 games. And I think he did himself some justice because, again, he could have got hurt, and there's nothing against that. Props for all the guys that showed up and played this season, but there was no frown upon anyone that didn't because, again, look at the untold story of the Pac-12 for the season.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can't fault him. You know, his teammate who also had a good pro day, Elijah Vera Tucker, who will be a first-round pick, had opted out and then rejoined his team. And for him, I think it ended up benefiting him because I think he wouldn't have been a first-round pick had he remained opted out. Now he's probably going to be a top 15 pick just because he moved from guard to tackle. So he showed that versatility. But anyway, this is about the defensive line. So let's get into Jay's initial drills here. I think we start with the 40. I mean, do you think it's really necessary to see a defensive lineman do a 40?
No, I'd rather see him do a 10-yard. I had to do a 40, and you're rarely going to get caught down on the field doing that. But it does show that what type of will you have, because, you know, I made a play one time in my career where I chased Vernon Davis down.
Yeah, I remember that.
All the way down the field. And, you know, there's a corner missed a tackle, and I ended up saving the score because I was hustling down the field. And it's all effort. You know, I think mainly they're paying attention to the 10-yard split, but at the same time, showing that you can move and that you've been practicing and you've been working out and, you know, enough to take his shirt off and whatnot. He's feeling good, you know, and there's nothing wrong with his time, especially at his stature.
Yeah. To me, some of these drills are like when I was in college, and, you know, they make you take these classes that are totally irrelevant to your major or really anything in life that you'll ever use, but it kind of just to prove that you can start something, finish something, put in the work, even when it's not something you necessarily need. And so these drills, I think, maybe perhaps show that. But yeah, he ran a 4.97, which I think for his size, you know, is a good time. I don't think there's necessarily a bad time unless he ran like in the high 5s, where it's like, okay, have you just been sitting around all off season, just, you know, eating hot dogs and not doing anything? So I think he sub 5 is where he wanted to be, and that's where he got. So I think it was a good time for him.
Yeah, great time for a big guy like that. Again, this is a nose tackle, 3 technique at times, but he's mainly going to play probably around the nose or a shade. Mm-hmm. And that's excellent, you know, running ability. If he can get the backfield, it shows, you know, he does have some quicks to him. And again, running a 40 is not the worst thing, but I think they only pay attention to the 10-yard split.
Yeah, which we'll get to in a minute, which is what Marlon Tui Pelotu did anyway. But Ross, what was your 40 time? I think you ran a pretty quick 40.
Yeah, I had a couple. I ran out the combine, and I actually ran slower than I thought. And then I made it to USC's pro day, and I ran a 4.7. You know,
that's quick.
You just it's a performance, man. I just tell you that it's a real performance because anything goes into it. We ran on the track; they're running on the turf. Mm-hmm. Ran on turf at the combine, right? So there's all these different surfaces, and now you're not really playing football. You're in shorts, and, you know, it's the elements, it's everything, and you just got to perform and do your best. So yeah, I ran a 4.7, I believe, coming out, and I felt like at times I probably could run faster. I think I tested before we actually had pro day, and I did run faster, but again, I took it. That was what I had that day to give, and, you know, in front of my parents and my teammates and the faculty that came, it was huge just to be out there competing.
Well, that highlight, I feel so bad. I can't remember who actually ran it in, but one of your teammates, it was a sack fumble, I believe. And for a touchdown, you're running alongside him. It was either your sophomore or junior year. And you were running faster than 4.7, I think, on that. I can't remember if it was Will Poole that ran it in or who it was, but yeah, I remember that highlight. I don't know if you remember.
You never know, but I'm sure I was excited and trying to lead the way.
Yeah.
Good.
Exactly. So, hey, 4.7, that's quick. I ran in high school. I think I ran like a 4.72 was my best ever. So quicker than me. And you're a lot bigger than me. So well done.
I was moving. Those were good days. I don't know what I'll run today, though.
Were you? So I remember when we did these drills, we did like a pseudo pro day at my high school, which is obviously nothing compared to this college level. But I remember being super nervous because, I mean, these are times that if you just take a wrong step and your time falls, it's like, there's college scouts there watching, and all of a sudden you get jotted down back because they don't know you anything other than what they see here. Obviously, USC players have a lot of film out there and stuff, but were you more nervous for your pro day or combine or like a game? It's probably a dumb question, but I know I was super nervous for.
It was more pro day and stuff just because it's all eyes on you,
So you were more, okay.
Yeah, we're playing in the game. You got your buddies next to you. You're playing versus an opponent. Right now, you're the opponent. You're everything, and this is a combination of all your work that you've done since you were a kid or however long your football career had been up to this point, and it's all pretty much on the table for your future. So it's pretty nerve-wracking, man. But at the end of the day, you got to perform, and this is what you signed up for an opportunity to be in front of those scouts and general managers and head coaches like we were when I was at USC. And it was just time to shine. There's a lot of people in that environment that made the energy high. And so if you can't feed off that and block out the distractions and just get to it, shouldn't probably be there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, let's get to the rest of Jay's drills here quick. So I think the next one is this. What is this? The shuttle we got going on?
Yeah, that's the shuttle. So the shuttle is a very good drill just to see that sideline to sideline moving if you're going lateral. Again, it's something you probably will never be doing in the game or at practice or whatnot, but it just shows that you worked your tail off. You got some knee bend when it's time to touch the line because you're not touching the line with your shoe or your cleat. You got to bend down with that knee bend again that I talked to you about earlier. So it's another good drill that for some reason it should be a defensive back drill, not a lineman one. Yeah. But if they want to see the knee bend, that's another opportunity for them too.
Yeah. 4.83 shuttle for Jay. So about 0.2 of seconds slower than Osa's, but still a good time for a nose, like you're saying, for his size. I think he looked quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, all right, next I think we got the 3-cone here. So you've already touched on what the importance is, but what do you think Jay's was? Oh no, this is just another variation of the. No, this is what is this? Yeah, this is a 3-cone, right?
Yeah. So I think Jay did a great job on that back stretch of running downhill towards that inside cone. One of the things you'll probably see is they try to double up those cones that you're actually going around so you don't knock them over and or skim through them. But again, he's running fast, he's running hard, and he's running like he wants the job. And I think it was a great showing for him in this drill.
I remember my coach, when we did this, he used actual like traffic cones that are like, what, 1.5 feet tall. So he couldn't cut over them. Like
Yeah, that's basically what they do. They make sure you don't cut over them. And especially with all those eyes on there, you don't want to look like you're taking the easy way out,
Yeah. Don't want to look like you're cheating. So Jay's 3-cone was 7.77. So I think that's a pretty good time for him with his size. So moving on, we got, I think, one more. This is just more of a change of direction stuff? Yeah,
so these are one of the drills that you get to do when you're doing your one-on-one with your coaches. Again, this is a test to see if you're in shape, how hard you're willing to push yourself. There's not a lot of rest period between these drills when you're doing one-on-ones with coaches, and they're pretty much trying to wear you out. They want to see what's your max, and they push you. And another thing, look at all these sprints. You know what I mean? If you're going sideways, you got to count the yards as you go. You're counting a lot of yards running up and down on a hot surface and things like that. We're watching right here. Jay's doing some bag drills. And again, this is something that you do every single day. But when you're in this environment, all these GMs, head coaches, position coaches staring at you, something you never do. You never hit the bags at practice. You're clean. Today you hit one, and then, you see how it affects you. Can he move past it? Can he get through it? Or is that the stumbling block that it's going to take? So I think he rebounded pretty well and finished the day well.
Yeah, he seemed to, not let it deter him. I'll show it again right here. But seemed to still be able to bounce back from it. But, overall, I thought his feet looked pretty quick. Change of direction looked good. I mean, that gets exhausting when you're just going back and forth, and you got to keep moving those high legs and keeping your feet churning. So for having a year off, I think he looked pretty good.
Yeah, and again, it's all about that finish. These drills want to see you finish. They want to see how tired you are. They want to see how you dig deep, and if you're looking at this film, there's only 3 linemen participating today in this pro day for USC. So the reps are pretty much rapid fire. And when I came out, it was just 2 of us. So it was even more strenuous on us to show them everything we got. Again, this is a combination of all the work you've done since you were a kid or however long your career has lasted.
Yeah. So overall, you think Jay helped himself in this pro?
Yeah, I think taking the year off, he went out there and did exactly what he was supposed to do, and he showed him who he is. I don't think he was going to have anything that popped off the screen and, bench 50 reps or run a 4.6. That wasn't him. He did exactly what he was supposed to do, and I think he'll be exactly where he is. He has film. It just wasn't for him a 6-game season, but there's enough film out there on Jay to warrant him being a draft pick or being selection to be on the team.
Yeah, I think so too. And overall, helped himself. And he'll be excited to see where he ends up and ends in training camp. And he'd be a good fit for either our Rams or our Chargers. I think any of these 3 guys would be to add depth and defensive line, especially the Rams after losing Michael Brockers and Morgan Fox. They could certainly use some more depth pieces and guys rotational starters. I think you get that with any of these 3 guys. So let's move on to our last one, Marlin Tui Pelotu. Awesome kid. You had him on your show, Take Back the West, and he's like a big teddy bear when he talks, just soft spoken, but he's a mauler in the trenches and plays hard. So what do you think overall of his pro day? And as we get into the drills here,
I think Marlon, he played his way into being a draft selection. I think going in today, they had him as one of the top interior defensive linemen in this draft, and I think that still held up. I believe if he would have showed a little bit more at the Senior Bowl, that could have skyrocketed him up some charts. But again, he didn't do anything to hurt himself. Yeah, and that's one of the things these coaches and GMs, they want to see. They want to see if you didn't work hard, not as much as you worked hard. They want to see the things pop off the screen, and I also want to see if it goes the opposite way. And I think Marlon had a great outing in front of his family and his teammates and all these coaches and GMs and personnel. I think he went out there and performed. He did the 10-yard get off, as I like to call it, which is all that really matters. At first, I thought it was, he pulled up for a hammy or something, and I was worried, all that work. But no, it was a 10-yard, and it's exactly what he's supposed to be doing. Just show your get off.
Yeah, he had tweaked his hammy a week or 2 prior, so he was just doing 10 off, which, like you said, is really all you need. Looked like he had good get off there, and he proved that all year on film. Yeah, and I love that you said that he kind of like played his way into the draft, because coming into the season, or when there wasn't a season, I think not a lot of people, at least nationally, probably knew who Marlon Tui Pelotu was or knew what film he had done. And this year, granted it only being 6 games or whatnot, I thought he had a great season, put his name on the map, and showed out. And I think he only did more of that this pro day. So excited to see where he ends up. But yeah, I think a good 10-yard sprint didn't show anything bad there. But yeah, just nursing a hammy, but nothing major.
Yeah, and he finished the day. He did his personal workouts with the D-line coaches here. We're seeing him doing the 3-cone, and he fared well with all these drills. So, again, Marlon's a hard worker. He was coached well at USC, strong. He had enough support. He had his brother on the defensive line, which I know he pushed him to, lead by example. You're not only a teammate, an upperclassman, it's actually your little brother following your footsteps, which is going to turn out to be a great player. But again, Marlon made himself some money, gave himself a chance to be an NFL selection after leaving school early. And again, when we watch this tape, you'll see knee bend, you see effort, you see want to and will to get it done. And that's pretty much the recipe of Marlon.
Yeah. Does this little slip up he has here on the 3-cone, does that hurt him at all? Or is it, just, it is what it is?
No, I think, again, not everyone
recovered really well.
A lot of people don't test well. They play the sport well. A lot of people don't test well in school, but they're not dumb. They just don't test well, and that's just another situation when him being human, and that's what happens. It's just a reminder. Got to pick your cleats up. They're on turf. Maybe he wasn't practicing on this turf. It's all about conditions and stuff like that. And again, what you're watching is another drill of just getting tired. Look at all the yards they're running, and they're just breaking your will, but they want to see how you will finish. Will you dig deep? And I think Marlon's one of those guys that will relish in the opportunity of having a chance to be in the NFL. And I think given the opportunity, he'll do exactly what it takes to stay in it. Him and Jay are guys that can put on some weight if they have some money in their pocket and they can go to steakhouses and whatnot. Hopefully they have the discipline to work the same way they're working now to get in position to stay there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think a lot of these drills were showing that having some slips aren't for a lack of effort or even being out of shape. It's just, it's a big guy doing a lot of stuff. You said only 2 linemen or 3, including total, a lot of reps really quickly. And so it just kind of stacks up and you get tired. But I thought overall, I think he looked good and finished every drill strong and, looked pretty quick in his feet. It was just some of the tired and the nerves maybe coming in for the slips.
Yeah, and that's part of being human, man. So you can't get away from that stuff. I think these guys showed up. They did exactly what they were supposed to do and be who they were. And they weren't trying to do anything other than be who they are. And the film speaks for itself. Yep,
and still finished with a 4.69 shuttle, which is really good. A 7.57 3 count for a 6'2", 307-pound interior lineman. That's pretty impressive. So,
absolutely,
yeah, good numbers there. Even through the slip, still finished strong, which I think that almost shows. If I was a scout, that shows me more. Oh, here's a guy that slipped and still finished with like a great time. Like that's pretty impressive. So. Well, cool. Yeah. Hopefully that film maybe gives you guys a little bit of insight there just to kind of what goes into these pro days. Frost, love that you were able to kind of break it down, what these drills actually do for these players in this process. Before we sign off, your pro day, if I'm not mistaken, was like the last fan included pro day at USC, if I'm not mistaken. But it was a spectacle, man. What was it like?
So yeah, we had a list of guys that had played a really lot of good football out there at USC over a combination of years. And we all happened to just come out at the same time. And, adding to the list of excitement, obviously there's the front runners there were Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart that brought all the head coaches and GMs. And it was a perfect opportunity for a lot of guys to get in. And a lot of guys competed that day. We had names like Darnell Being, Winston Justice, myself, LaJuan Ramsey. We had Fred Matua, rest in peace. He competed that day. Justin Wyatt, John Walker, Dominic Bird, Lindell White was there. We had a stacked program, and that just made it all easier for me because everyone that I've been sweating with and grinding, everyone was there trying to get the check, and it was just our time. I had my mom in the stands, my dad in the stands. My sister, teachers were there to support all the coaching staff members, and the underclassmen. They were there to get the energy in them to understand what it's going to take to go out there and compete. See the drills, right? It's right in front of you. See the drills, and you may next year be able to chase your dream the same way. So pro day for me, I was at ease. Not too long after I did my 40, I was at ease. It was like, okay, that was the hardest part. You want to run, get that over with, make sure you don't pull a hamstring or tweak anything. And besides that, from that point on, it's just game time. And, we put a lot of work in playing football. We put a lot of work in training for the NFL Combine. And it was an exciting time. It was packed with cameras, but we were used to it. So, it fared well for us.
Basically like a game atmosphere, thousands of fans in the stands. Like I said, I think it was the last year or close to last year where they allowed fans at USC's pro day, but that was you guys. That was Hollywood Trojans right there. And it would have been cool to see. And obviously you guys all made a name for yourself and you lasted like the longest in the NFL. So well done. Well done.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I was favored, man. I was good at football. And that's one thing it came down to. I was being durable and put myself in position to have longevity in the NFL. And that came from a lot of hard work and taking care of myself and staying motivated to be there. And that's not a knock at anyone else there. I was just determined to continue to play as long as I could. And I still feel like I could have played longer, but I'm walking around now with decent health. I'll say decent. I'm not going to say the best. I'm not going to say the worst because I'm walking.
Yeah.
Right. But I seize the moment, and that's what it's all about. You get an opportunity, something that you want for your whole life, and it's just right there in front of you. What are you willing to do to be there? We sacrificed a lot of time with friends and family and holidays, traveling and whatnot. And, those things, it got to me at points, like as I kept going, the longevity of my career, everyone else was, settling in with family, settling in with the new found who they are with work and business and things like that. And I was still playing, a kid's game for a king's ransom. So, I'm very thankful. I'm thankful. I had great parents and leadership around me. I had a lot of people praying for me, and I know that worked. And again, I took advantage of every opportunity I could. I didn't let anything get past me. If it was on my plate, I ate it.
Yeah, there you go. Well, and you certainly did a good job. And we hope that these kids we've talked to, have you talked to Jay at all? I know we've talked to the other three.
No, I didn't get a chance to talk to Jay. He wasn't in school, and I was just going after the guys that were playing. Was reaching out, but obviously I know a lot about him. He's a good kid, and I think he put himself in a position to be right where he was. I don't think 6 games of no film hurt him too much, and it shouldn't.
No. Yeah, exactly. A team will get a steal with him. And and I was just alluding to the guys we have talked to, they will talk about how they have, a great support cast around them, kind of how you referred to, and going into this process, that's super important. So hats off to them. I think they had a great pro day. Hopefully they'll continue that process as, no combine this year, but I'm sure there's going to be meetings and Zoom meetings with these teams. They get the weird interview questions and stuff. Before we go, can I ask you that? What's the weirdest question you got at the combine? I don't know if you want to share.
Well, one of the only things that really sticks out to me, there's a lot that sticks out, but one of the things that's memorable is I actually got into it with my coaches that actually drafted me. So they make you go on a big board.
Before they drafted you?
What?
So you got into it before they drafted you, and then they ended up drafting you?
Yeah. So the only conflict I had at the combine, and you're getting on the board, you're drawing up stuff. And obviously going to SC, I was very prepared for, film, and I was prepared for, chalk talk. So I got on there and they told me drop my favorite blitz, and I drew it up. It was a blitz that didn't feature me in it. It was someone else was going to hit home and get a sack. It worked a bunch of times, and it was my favorite because, again, the way I played football, it wasn't always about me solely getting stats. It was about just the achievement of the play that was drawn up. And I drew it up, and, my coach, one of my favorite guys now, he was like, that doesn't work. And I was like, I'm pretty sure it works. I've done it for a few years, and I know it works. And we went back and forth for at least 5 minutes of him trying to get me to be frustrated, And I'm sure I was frustrated, but they actually wanted to see, because all you heard about Frostee likes to smile, he likes this and this. But I was showing them that I am very serious about football and how, I was stern about that play. That was my favorite play. So you weren't going to tell me it didn't work because I know it did.
Yeah.
So,
they want to see if you were true to that.
Yeah. And I walked out of the meeting like, well, not going there, and then, and uniquely, I didn't have any visits to any team after the combine. I never had any visits. So I didn't know how that process, all my other buddies were flying all the way around. And I'm glad I didn't, because you would get really tired, flying everywhere, having to work out, get back on the plane, go here, that can only break you down and break you down mentally too and spiritually. So I didn't have to do that. But again, that was just less times being in front of teams too. So I'm like, well, maybe it's just not for me,
Yeah.
And I was drafted in the 3rd round, 91st pick, 2006 draft by Cincinnati Bengals. And, one of my greatest mentors, Jay Hayes, he was the one that kind of got into it, and that what made him pick me though. So I'm happy for him. Shout out to Jay Hayes.
Yeah. I just wanted to get in your skin to make sure you were true to, I guess, what you believed, and I guess you were. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I love hearing all the combine stories. There's some probably that aren't great, but some that like that ends up working out for the better and cool. So, well, Frost, thanks for all the insight. Thanks for sharing all this. This was cool for me. Obviously, I love when we can do film stuff. Hopefully, we can do more of it. I know game film is, I guess, a little more enticing to break down than just drills, but at least wanted to show kind of what goes on at the pro day. So, thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's always a good chance to show any knowledge I got and share it with you guys. And, that's you, Ryan, and that's LA, that all our listeners that watch across the world, because they're across the world too, Ryan.
Oh, yeah. We got a good following in Mexico and Canada, actually. I don't know if you knew that. Yeah.
Viva.
Yeah, that's right. There we go. And I know you said last episode, has anyone asked me and shout out our intro? And I don't know if you saw, but we got a comment just last episode about, yep, you guys have one of the best intros out there. So there we go.
I'm telling you, I love that intro, man. We that's one for gold.
Yeah, it's great. So absolutely. So thank you all. Before we sign off, obviously got to give a quick shout out to eBay, one of our newest sponsors. If you are a sneakerhead out there, I was going to say a shoe head, but if you're a sneakerhead out there, eBay is the original sneaker marketplace. Get that pair you have been eyeing. With eBay's authenticity guarantee, your sneakers are meticulously inspected by independent professional authenticators. And if you are a seller, you can buy and flip, and as long as the shoe you're selling is over $100, there are no seller fees. Nothing like paying a fee when you sell stuff. Well, eBay doesn't have that. So head to ebay.com/sneakers today. That's ebay.com/sneakers, the world's best destination for discovering great value and unique selection. All right, Frost, anything else to add before we wrap this great episode up?
No, I'm good, man. In LA, you stay safe. Make sure you guys are buckled down. That's for your Bruin fans and Trojan fans tonight in the Elite Eight. Make sure you're tuned in and supporting your teams as they battle. And hopefully both these teams can make it to the Final Four and then on to the national championship. So our fans will be pleased.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. Good things going on in LA. So thank you, sir. You can find Frost always at The Organic Frost on all social media. You can email him at frosteepodcast@yahoo.com. Reach out to me at Ryan Dyrud, LAFB on Twitter. Love to hear from you guys. Had a few reach out after last episode after we had Oda Ibushi on. So appreciate that. Follow us on YouTube if you haven't subscribed already at LAFB Network. All the socials are at LAFB Network. And we are everywhere you listen to podcasts, Apple, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, all of those we are. So Frosty, thank you as always. I hope you enjoy the rest of this beautiful weekday, and go Trojans, go Bruins.
Let's go, buddy. I'll talk to you later.
All right, guys, take care.